The internet, which controls so many aspects of our lives, is itself controlled by only a handful of powerful companies and government agencies. But it wasn't always that way. The inventor of the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee, says he is devastated at how his invention turned out. He's now working to help decentralize it. Katrina Brooker profiled Berners-Lee for Vanity Fair. We spoke earlier about her interview with him. The inventor of the World Wide Web, Berners-Lee has a certain mystique about him. What's he like in person?
Well, he's a really interesting character. I mean, he invented one of the most important machines the world since the Gutenberg Bible, and he gave it away for free. He's a character. He's brilliant. He's really fun to interview because he thinks really quickly, keeps you on your toes. He's well known around his office for jumping up on his whiteboard and trying to explain his ideas through, drawing pictures, connecting dots. And I think a lot of the way that his mind works is almost in that networking system that computers work. He connects lots of dots very quickly, and you kind of have to keep up.
He must have been fascinating to talk to. I think a lot of people are shocked by the realization that he invented the World Wide Web and yet didn't become wildly rich off of it.
When he invented the web, he was very focused on it being this way to sort of equal the playing field. He saw it and he understood that it would be a way to start for new people to start new businesses, to disrupt industries the way that we've seen industries be disrupted, whether it's media or finance or, I mean, pretty much every industry on the planet at this point. And I think he saw it as a way to sort of bring people who weren't really in the playing field to kind of be able to participate in the economy, in the world, in politics in a way that they hadn't. And a lot of that has actually happened in the past 3 decades.
And a lot of other stuff has happened as well. How does he feel about the fact that, Facebook, Google, Amazon control so much of what he imagined would be a tool for democracy?
I think what's really interesting is that in some ways, he, right from the beginning, was worried that this incredibly powerful tool could be used for good and it could be used for evil. And I think that what the last couple of years has woken him and lots of other people up to is just how much damage the speed and the power of the web and the internet can do around the world, whether it's, we've now learned that a lot of us are being spied on, and our information and data is being used in ways that we could never have imagined 5 years ago, maybe even 2 or 3 years ago.
But what's fascinating, as you point out in your article, is that we allowed this to happen. We collectively all allowed the internet to become what it is today.
Yeah, well, and I think that's something that's very eye-opening, and there is a responsibility that all of us have to accept, that every time we click on I agree to this with whatever app that we're agreeing to, or we are trading all sorts of data for the convenience of having our food delivered immediately or toothpaste come to our door, we're agreeing to share enormous amounts of information about ourselves. And as technology becomes faster and stronger, the ability for companies to synthesize that data and use it in ways that are almost hard for us to keep up with and understand. But it's becoming scary, and I think we're starting to see the ways that that's becoming scary.
And Berners-Lee thinks it's scary, right? He said he was, quote, devastated by...
Yes, I think when he started to see ways that the web and the internet were being used to intimidate people, to manipulate, potentially the outcomes of democratic elections, and other ways that he feels that companies are taking data and information and using them for a profit motive, which is fine, and that's what companies are meant to do, but not necessarily understanding how potentially damaging they can also be on people's lives.
Tell us about Solid, the platform that he's working on.
All the data that we put out, someone owns that data. And right now, the way this system is set up, it's not
It's not us.
It's not us. It's not the people creating the data. It's the companies, governments, people that we're feeding the data to. And I think the question that he's asking and that the technological problem that he's trying to solve is, what if we flip that around and you own all of your data, whether it's your DNA that you're sending out to be analyzed, or it's your searches or your shopping history, whatever it is. What if you own that?
How far away do you think he is to completing this?
I mean, I don't know, but he is working full-time, hard, and it's not just him. I think the other important thing is that there are others out there who feel strongly about this, and Tim is part of a broader movement that's kind of bubbling up from around the world, where people do feel strongly that there's a better way to live, work, exist
These decentralization
online.
Summits that are happening in San Francisco. This seems to be a global movement.
There's other companies, there's other organizations that are really working very hard and full time on how the web can be decentralized and not just sort of controlled by a handful of companies and government agencies, and be sort of open for all of us.